It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. The show is interfering with my reading again.
Okay, what happened?
I'm just reading this here. And I'm reading this comedy article. Here's the headline from the Post-Millennial. Socialist, stop it. He's not a socialist. He's communist. But the headline, socialist Zoran Mamdani says he will be Trump's worst nightmare as New York City mayor. He has vowed to be the worst nightmare for Donald Trump if he wins New York City's mayoral election in November. You don't need to take me at my word, or take Andrew Cuomo at his. You only need to look at the actions of the Trump administration since I won the Democratic primary. Wow. I believe he's going to be New York City's worst nightmare if Mamdani gets in.
Yeah. And look, you and I don't know how it's going to go. I won't be shocked if New York City hires elects a communist for mayor. Wouldn't that be where it's going right now? Wouldn't that be the next logical step, that one of the major blue cities is going to do that? And it would have to be New York, Chicago, L.A. It's got to be one of those.
Well, look, I said it yesterday. I sort of agree with what George Will said. Every once in a while, America needs to go through the political economic narratives. You need to vote them into office so you see it doesn't work. You needed to vote Biden into office so you can see how Democrats don't wish to solve any problems, but they wish to create problems. The best evidence of Democrats creating the problems and not solving the problems, it's different if you want to solve the problem and you don't succeed at it.
Yeah, right.
That's not what's going on with the Democratic Party. And nothing Trump could have said or any other Republican, if Democrats had not been in power with Biden for the last 4 years, would be as convincing of what the Democrats' narrative is and what they actually want to do. Nothing could describe it or make people understand it or believe it than Democrats being in power.
Right. No, I mean, you're going to have to go through this.
Well, Trump's second term, I think he's even talked about it.
Yeah.
That if he would have served 2 consecutive terms, the second term would not have been as productive as this one is for him.
Well, I mean, first of all, think of how much support he has within his own party compared to that first term. Because that first term, the lack of support just from his own party, the GOP on Capitol Hill, would have continued. We still would be hearing from Mitch McConnell and all of them along the way. The establishment would have dug their heels in. But you saw that. They ushered out, essentially, the establishment Republicans were all but ushered out on the stage at the Republican National Convention last year. That's the one thing you and I looked at and said, whoa, that's pretty telling. This is the next generation for the GOP. There's still a ton of work to be done, but it would have been nothing like what it is today had we not gone through the Biden years. I hate that we have to go through that to learn it. But I wasn't the decider in all of that. No one single person was. And when you look at that, you look at the layout right now where we are. You know, just the fallout yesterday and of the Democrats trying to scramble over the whole D.C. thing. They don't know where to go. Now, they still have a great deal of influence. They're still winning elections. They still get tens of millions of votes. However, eyes are opening all over America that are looking at the Democrats going, you guys are just insane. And we can't do this as a nation. It is really, when I joke and say the Democrats are just standing back going, boo, law and order on the whole D.C. thing, that's effectively what they're doing. That's what people see. The people who live, the law-abiding, peaceful people who live in the D.C. area that are looking for somebody to finally do something, and the left screams about it and doesn't want it done.
You know, what Trump is doing right now, and it's really amazing because it's been resurrected from the dead, is what you and I saw in September and October of 2015 when he was really getting into the race. And we had said it, and I believe we were probably the first to say it when the media was just, they couldn't understand, you know, why Trump was coming to the forefront. And we said, well, it's obvious. People look at him and say, he actually loves us and loves our country first.
Right.
There are things I disagree with on Trump. It's, you know, and so do you. We've talked about it. Mm-hmm. But there's no doubt in my mind that we wish to get to the same place.
Right.
We just disagree with him on really, if you look at it, it's simply economic things that we disagree with him on. Mm-hmm. But those economic things have been debated in this country and have been mainstream at one time or another for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
You know, none of it's really new, but there's no doubt in my mind Trump doesn't want to open the border.
Yeah. Right.
Trump doesn't want criminals on the streets.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't want people to run out of electricity because of the stupidity of the leftist belief that you can run a modern, well, I can add something to it now, a modern AI society on solar and wind.
Yeah.
If the left believes that Trump is the dumbest president ever, I don't know what it says about them.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I have no doubt, even when I disagree with Trump, we want to get to the exact same place. We've got a few things where we disagree on. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. The Democrats, I do not believe, care about the people of the United States. They care about power. Trump doesn't need the power. He never needed the power. He didn't need the money. He didn't need politics as the money, for money.
Right.
In fact, he's done the opposite. Oh, did you see? Oh my gosh. I've got to find the audio where a reporter was asking about, him fixing up the White House. And I think it was whether they could give him a larger or more comfortable, whatever. I'm doing this from memory. A briefing room. Here it is. I found it. Okay, this is a reporter. All right, ready for this?
All
Here
right.
you go.
All right.
The question is this. You're building a big, beautiful ballroom. Yeah. Could we build a big, beautiful briefing room? Technology. More seats.
I don't want to do that. I don't want you to be comfortable.
I love it. But so much of what even the White House is doing, it's going to be, it'll be my own money. Nobody's ever done this. You cannot make the case. He's never taken a paycheck.
Right.
It's not about It's about getting things done, and he's gone through hell. Everything that happened against him, the lawfare, the Russian hoax, which led to the impeachment, everything we're now learning, he went through hell.
Yep.
Democrats attempted to destroy everything. This is one thing that we talked about, right before we went to the top of the hour. If it's truly mortgage fraud, for example, with Adam Schiff and Letitia James, not going to be hard to prove. You got the documents. Did you sign them? Right?
Right.
The documents where you're sworn to tell the truth. Completely different from what they tried to get Trump on when it came to appraisals, which had nothing to do with the mortgage application. Nothing.
Right.
And that's the difference. And there's a huge difference. Appraisals and negotiation on appraisals is something completely different. And so when you look at how they attempted to take him down, and the public realized it. That's why he's president of the United States. Think about this. In the history of the republic, maybe there is a case. I'm trying to think if there would be a case. I can't think of one right now. But maybe in the history of the entire, I'll say this. In this particular instance, never has it been said you can't elect somebody. He has been convicted of 34 felonies, and that was the incentive to one of the things that incentivized people to put him back into office. And I don't mean even his loyal supporters, but a ton of independents and even some Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a reason for it. They knew as president of the United States, he was being set up. And a bunch of people said, if they can do it to him, they can do it to us.
Well, that's exactly what, again, Democrats believe you're stupid. They believe you need to be controlled. You need to have a law that determines the cup size for your soda. They need to control your sodium intake, because you're too stupid. And we've said, we don't believe you're stupid. You either have the will to find out the facts or not. And for those that were paying attention all along, they started seeing this. This is one of the things about Michael Rappaport. And while it happened kind of late in the game, it did happen in time for the 24 election. And he went back to the Charlottesville lie. And that's just the Charlottesville lie isn't a small thing, but in comparison to 2 impeachments and the Russian hoax, it's a little bit further down on the list. But still, you look at, and this is where Michael Rappaport said, and then I started reading about more and more and this and all this other stuff. When the Russian hoax thing started to really surface more and more, that it truly was a hoax, and podcasts and everything else. Joe Rogan was a part of that. You look at everything because I think a lot of it was, the Twitter files thing, Matt Taibbi, Barry Weiss, Michael Schellenberger, people like that who are not on the right, who just wanted to go find certain things about what was going on. And then you look at, Amanda Devine at the New York Post and everything else. A lot of these people, especially at the New York Post, they were being shut down. This is lies. This is lies. This is lies. The whole laptop from hell thing, all of that. You put all of this together on the same boat, and my gosh, nothing.
Well, that's why
nothing adds up like this.
That's why when the Department of Justice fired those FBI agents and the Democrats were saying, he's just firing FBI. Sorry, the rot's in the FBI. We know it.
Yep.
Are those persons totally responsible? No. Are they responsible? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know specifically what each of they are accused of doing in order to get fired. All I know is there was a ton of rot, like the rest of the American public. There was a ton of rot inside the FBI. That's what happens. That's what happens when you censor. That's what happens when you want to have an entire political narrative to censor the truth, whether it was the laptop, whether it was everything through COVID, all of that was going on, the Russia collusion hoax, the FBI involvement in that, the intelligence agencies' involvements of that. Sorry, people are going to get fired.
Yep.
And that's why that story lasted a blip, and now it's gone.
Right.
I wonder how long the D.C. thing's going to last. The D.C. crime thing. Will it be gone in a couple of days? I really think that they went crazy over it because part of the reason is because they realize we're not winning this redistricting argument in Texas.
Right.
We're not winning this. Let's move to something else.
Right.
And so they don't pay attention to what the specifics of it are. They just go crazy.
Well, over and over again, it's the boomerang effect. This time they're screaming, boo, law and order. On the redistricting, that's a threat to democracy. But you guys redistrict like crazy. Oh, well, yeah, but that's not a threat to democracy. Only this is.
That's just amazing.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah. It's just, and it's the frantic, child that's just screaming and running around, shouting at anything and everything, and has really no point to make.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Food safety regarding packing your child's school lunches includes keeping perishable foods chill, as in cold foods cold. But USDA food safety expert Meredith Carruthers, what about keeping hot foods hot? Say packing soup or chili in the lunchbox.
You can use a thermos. Very important to put hot water in it first to help heat up the inside and make sure it is already hot before you put hot food into it. And those thermoses should help keep food hot until lunchtime.
And from the food safety perspective, whether food is hot or cold, a brown paper bag lunch is not the way to go.
Using an insulated bag helps keep that cold air in, will help keep your food safe and cold for the appropriate amount of time.
Not to mention the potential of a brown paper bag ripping as cold sources melt or hot liquids accidentally spill and get the paper wet. Carruthers adds that if for whatever reason a parent is unable to keep a perishable school lunch cold,
there are plenty of non-perishable and shelf-stable items to eat,
such as fresh, uncut fruit. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Okay, we will have the story about the Democratic whistleblower. This is a Democratic whistleblower, not a Republican, but a Democrat whistleblower who says he was in a meeting with Adam Schiff where he authorized leaking classified information to try to hurt Trump. Now, we already know that Adam Schiff lied about the intelligence when it goes back to all Russia collusion. One of the reasons that he was kicked off the House Intelligence Committee when Republicans took over was because he lied. As the head of the Democrats of the House Intelligence Committee, he lied. Mm-hmm. He said the intelligence showed that Trump colluded with the Russians. He said the evidence is there. You remember when he put that out, and then that was when Devin Nunes came out with his, Devin Nunes, a Republican at the time, of the House Intelligence Committee, and said, he's lying. He's absolutely lying. It doesn't exist anywhere. And Adam Schiff lied about the intelligence that wasn't there about Donald Trump, and therefore California said, that's the perfect person to be our senator. Yeah. We'll have that story coming out. And Bernie Sanders says, the wealthy millionaire who owns 3 homes, tears into Kamala Harris's campaign saying it was too heavily influenced by wealthy people.
Oh.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. All right, we got the audio cut here. This is John Solomon, who broke the story about the Democratic whistleblower, who is a career intelligence officer, who says he was in a meeting with Adam Schiff where he authorized leaking classified information in order to hurt Trump. Of course, that is against the law.
Yeah.
But here's John Solomon on that. Here we go.
Listen, this whistleblower literally sat in a meeting, he tells the FBI, where Adam Schiff authorized the leaking of classified secrets to dirty up Donald Trump and to try to build towards either a select committee in Congress or a special prosecutor. This whistleblower was a career intelligence officer. He had worked for the House Intelligence Committee, Democrat staff, for a dozen years when he came forward to the FBI. He gave 4 interviews. He gave very specific information to the FBI, and nothing happened. Why? Because the Justice Department simply decided to take a pass. How many times have we sat around in the last decade and heard, we're going to get to the bottom of that classified leak, and then a few months later, we couldn't get to the bottom of that classified leak. In the case of Adam Schiff, they got to the bottom of some classified leaks, but the Justice Department chose not to act. So tonight, past attorney generals, people like Merrick Garland and Jeff Sessions and Rod Rosenstein, who was acting on Russiagate, they've got some serious questions answered. Did they know about this Adam Schiff stuff? Why did they allow it to be passed on? And will anything happen in the current Justice Department?
Well, what I wonder, the first thing I thought of? Can you look at that, because it has to do with Russia collusion? If you're looking for crimes to set up the conspiracy and or the racketeering charge, you and I have always looked for what crimes were committed. And you look at that and you say, well, if he approved leaking classified information and he did, or even if he approved it and they did not, because of the previous, crimes that we have talked about last week, does that extend the conspiracy theory out depending on the timeline?
I think it's quite possible. And my question would be, too, not that I put it beyond him, to do this on his own, but was there anybody else involved? In other words, were there any communications here about, the back and forth about make a decision on, whether to approve these leaks, basically? He might have acted alone and on that item, or was there someone else?
Well, it does show that because at that point, I believe what he was saying is he was in charge of the House Intelligence Committee at that time.
Right.
To do something like that. Now, we know, again, that he was kicked off the House Intelligence Committee because of the, as we talked about before, lying about what the intelligence was on Trump.
Right.
He told the American public that the evidence was there, and he was lying. Now, Devin Nunes accused him of lying at that time. And so, again, if you lie about intelligence, Democrats say, you become a senator in California.
Exactly.
What? You're adding possible mortgage fraud? Make that damn guy president. Forget about Buttigieg.
Right. How did we miss him?
This is the kind of guy that we're looking for. But yeah, so when I saw that, I was thinking of, is that part? Because if they've laid it all out, and that's what we're led to believe, that they've laid it all out, the Republicans, from the beginning of the intelligence agencies knowing that Hillary planned to set up Trump, which goes back at least till March of 2016, all the way to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
That is the span of the conspiracy / racketeering through all of that. Does that line up somewhere in there as a crime that continues the conspiracy, or the organized crime racketeering.
Right.
And I'm only going by what they've laid out for us. I'm not, again, adding anything to it. I don't know. But if they're looking into it and they're talking about, conspiracy, well, then you're looking for any crime that you can.
Yeah, and that's,
Right.
which gets back to my question. All right, conspiracy, organization. So who was he communicating with? Look, not that they didn't each do things on their own, but it was all part of a chain of events in one common goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible for me to believe, and I think now we know, that any of that this just happened by coincidence and all of them were acting separately. So now it gets back to communications. And, on the grand scale, who might be communicating with an Adam Schiff? On something like that, on leaks.
Yeah, he authorized it. Then what happened after that?
Well, you think of the intel community, or former intel community, or, whatever it might be at the time. And you look at those heads of the intel community and where what they were doing, their part in all this. There is no telling how wide this thing is. Because again, you can't convince me it's the case that this was just each of them, by coincidence, out to get Trump in their own way. No, there were things that were orchestrated and coordinated and organized here. We know that now.
Well, we know that it definitely was organized from July of 2016 until Obama left office.
Mm-hmm.
We know that because the intelligence agencies in July are the ones that Brennan told Obama and Biden and Comey. So every act afterwards, they all knew.
Yep.
And they met. And they met and talked about it. So you have that. And like we said, Hillary Clinton, you've got two crimes in there. One, a civil crime, civil violation. But still, as we said, does that set up a civil RICO case for Trump down the road?
Yeah.
But Hillary Clinton and using the
RICO?
We're going to go there. On the Espionage Act.
Right.
We
on the email.
Yeah, we knew that, and that's why she originally did it. They said,
yeah,
that's what we have heard. We don't know if there was a secondary reason, but that was the first reason to distract from that. Well, it actually worked.
Yeah.
Well, why did Comey, knowing that Hillary was trying to set Trump up, let her off when he explained fully what law she violated in the Espionage Act, as he did in that speech when I was golfing that day and talking to you.
Yeah.
And pard
July
that hole.
5th.
Yeah, and pard that hole.
Yeah.
I still remember that. And then it goes all the way to the, January 6th meeting, right? Was it January 6th?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
at that point. So you have the meeting, which would be a conspiracy, and the knowledge of all those people, and the fact that Obama wanted to keep, with Comey, updated on everything that was going on throughout that time.
Right.
And now you've got to fill in all the blanks. When J.D. Vance said the other day, I expect indictments, and that's when it gets back to, okay, indictments on what? That's what you're looking for specifically, and
right.
It's widened the possible crimes, obstruction of justice, and more. And so we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
But Bernie Sanders, here it is. Bernie Sanders went after Kamala Harris and her presidential campaign over the weekend, saying her advisors were overly cozy with the rich and failed to champion a strong, specific working class agenda. During an interview on CNN's State of the Union, the host, Dana Bash, played a clip of Sanders telling an audience in West Virginia, one of the reasons, in my view, that Kamala Harris lost the election is she had too many billionaires telling her not to speak up for the working class of this country. Who are they? Who are the Democrats? Was Soros telling her that? Was Soros telling her? Were the Democrat billionaires telling her not to speak up for the working class of this country? Or is Bernie Sanders lying? I like Kamala. She's a friend of mine. I'll just throw her under the bus.
Exactly.
Okay, I added that, okay?
No. He'll throw her under the private jet that he's been using on the No Oligarchs tour.
Oh, that's right. He won't take the bus.
Yeah.
He's not an oligarch. He's a wannabe oligarch.
Exactly.
I like Kamala. She's a friend of mine, but her core consultants were heavily influenced by very wealthy people. How do you run for president and not develop a strong agenda which speaks to the economic crisis facing working families? You have more income and wealth inequality today than we've ever had. You've had 60% of our people living paycheck to paycheck. You've got a healthcare system which is broken and dysfunctional. And despite spending so much, we're the only major country not to guarantee health care to all people. How do you not talk about those issues? By the way, they do not guarantee health care to all people. No, that's an absolute falsehood.
No, they don't.
Absolute falsehood. These countries may guarantee health insurance, but I know. I have relatives in Canada. They don't guarantee health care. They guarantee health insurance for specific things, not all health care.
Yep.
When Bash suggested that Harris had talked about affordability in the campaign trail, Sanders began to respond that she had done so in a very vague way before cutting himself off and saying, I don't want to rehash the campaign, even though that's what I talked about.
Oh.
Even though I started the conversation. Why do Democrats never want to finish the conversation and the talking points as I'm slamming the table here?
Because they can't defend anything. They just can't. They can't go the full measure, ever. We've been screaming for the longest time, for years, they should own it. Go the full measure. Well, they can't because they get defeated quickly. It's so easy. I mean, this is, honestly, I would say child's play, but child's play can be hard. My youngest grandson goes back to school starting today. I thought it was yesterday, but it's today. And what did I say? Oh, I joked about him. I said, well, you're going to be, going to have a new math class. He goes, you should come take math with me. And I said, actually, you're right. I can use a refresher. He's first grade. And then I thought to myself, oh, wait a minute. That's a lot of pressure. I don't want to be in a classroom. He called out with the wrong answer all the time.
I took Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and Calculus 3.
Yeah.
Do you know how much of it I've retained?
0. That number I know.
Yeah, that math I know.
That math we
0.
can do.
And the thing about calculus is, if I started it up again, none of it would come back.
Yeah.
It's not like playing a musical instrument or riding a bicycle.
No. I thought calculus was a Greek god. I was like, what? It's math? Oh, well, it is Greek to me.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We're Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right. We're in that time of the year here, middle of August, and looking at Tropical Storm Erin in the Atlantic, and everybody wondering, okay, it's supposed to become a major hurricane by Sunday. And right now, you look at it, looks like it'll be, north of Puerto Rico and Cuba, and suspect if it, because it's expected to start moving a little bit more northwest.
Right.
And so the question will be, is it going to hit the east coast of the United States, or will it go north? Or, eventually through Florida.
Right.
But it wouldn't until sometime next week.
Yeah, it'll be next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll keep watching it. Too early to tell where it's going, but certainly going to keep an eye on it.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.